Hello, classic rock fans. I am reporting to you the day after seeing Guns N' Roses close out Summerfest in Milwaukee. I would have recorded this late last night immediately after the show, but because the concert itself was some 3 hours long and it took forever getting out of Summerfest, by the time I got to my car and then home, I was absolutely exhausted. I wasn't up really for recording anything. I just wanted to get to bed. Also, now I've had some time to collect my thoughts and fully appreciate what a fantastic show that was. It was quite a way to close out the return of Summerfest, which has been a little different this year because it's been in September instead of the normal July, but I gotta say, I went 3 times, and all 3 were very positive experiences, and I think Guns N' Roses was probably the most fun. So I'll start at the beginning. The opening act, a nice little bonus of seeing Guns N' Roses, was I got a chance to see one of the artists that the classic rock community is most excited about, and that is Wolf Van Halen, Eddie Van Halen's son. Now, Eddie Van Halen sadly passed away last year, and just a couple of months after that, Wolf Van Halen, with his new band Mammoth, released their debut album, which includes a song called Distance, which is a tribute to his father, Eddie. Now, the music video for Distance is absolutely beautiful. Bring a tear to your eye, it'll get you choked up. I remember watching that and was being very impressed. And I think because of that, and of course because, so many fans had such love for Eddie, there is a tremendous amount of goodwill towards Wolf right now. And there's a lot of people who have high expectations and are very, very happy and excited about the new record. And if you are one of those people, I am sorry to disappoint, but I can't say I'm in that crowd. I didn't really like the new album. It's no criticism towards Wolfie. It's just a style of rock that doesn't do much for me. It's honestly a little heavier, I guess, than I like in rock and roll. I didn't expect him or want him to do like some sort of Van Halen show or Van Halen record. Wouldn't think that's appropriate, and I'm glad he's not doing that. But what he put out is just, I don't know. It's just like we all have music we like and we don't like, and I don't know how else to put it except it doesn't do much for me. It doesn't move me. And I really wasn't big on his performance last night either. So, sorry to be a stick in the mud about that. We got in, I think, just after his second or third song, so I didn't see the entire set, but I did pay attention once I got to my seat. I did see him play Distance. And I was waiting for something from the set to grab me, but ultimately it just didn't happen. And I will say, the energy from the whole band Mammoth was pretty low, Wolf stood basically like a statue, playing both his guitar and keyboard at the front of the stage. I guess that limits him from being able to move around at all, but his band didn't seem to be doing too much either. It was all very stationary. And I guess, maybe that's just how you have to do a show if the lyrical content of the music is very heavy and you want people to focus on that. But if you're not into the music and the band is standing still, it leaves you wanting something a little different. And like I said, I think this just isn't for me. I think the fans, the Milwaukee fans who were there for him, most people were in their seats. And I think a lot of people were very excited and definitely into what he was doing. But as far as my tastes go, didn't do much for me. So I am sorry to be a downer about it. I don't want to be a hater. I'm not saying it's a bad record at all. And by the way, I'm not one of those people who thinks he should be playing Panama or any Van Halen songs as part of his set. I like that he is really throwing in with his own music. That is absolutely what Eddie wanted him to do. I admire him for it. It's just that the record didn't do much for me. But again, that's just me. I was in the minority. Most of the people in the audience were very excited and very into what he was playing. So I am happy for him for that, and I wish him all the best. And when he puts out his next album, I'll absolutely give him another shot. So let's get to the marquee act. Guns and fucking Roses. Alright, so this is the second time I've seen Guns N' Roses. The first time was at the old Bradley Center in Milwaukee in November 2017. In fact, let me show you this. I got this. This used to hang. Can you see this here? This used to hang in the old Bradley Center for a couple of years before they tore it down. I have a couple of pieces from the old Bradley Center from shows that I attended, and GNR, that was one of them. And the show I saw in 2017 was actually very similar to the show I saw last night in the sense that it was long. It was 3 hours long, and it was 3 hours of hits and great songs and absolutely stellar performances. The musicianship was perfect. Everybody played great. Everybody was real dialed in. To me, it's just a huge compliment to just how good these guys are and how great it is, really, that the core lineup of Axl, Slash, and Duff are back together. Back when I was in college, Axl put out Chinese Democracy, and up until that point, everything I ever read about Axl was about sort of this fall from grace, how he used to be so awesome, and now he was this sloppy, overweight doofus with dreads and wearing oversized jerseys and looking like a clown. And he seemed to be one of those real sad stories of like a brutal decline when it comes to older rock stars. And since I think he reunited with Slash, he's totally turned that around. Axl, Slash, and Duff all look great, all look the part. Axl's frontman talents are as good as they've ever been. He's super energetic, pretty funny, all over the stage. He doesn't seem to be phoning anything in. He seems to be really happy to be performing with this lineup of GNR, and it is so great to see as a fan. The only tough thing I have to say about the entire show is really about Axl's voice. And the sad reality is, when you sing that hard for that many years in a career, biologically, I don't know that it's possible to keep your vocal cords as good as they were when you were in your 20s. Now, Axl has insane vocals. That's what made them so good back then. But there's definitely some wear and tear on him. And I think they've structured the show in a way that lets him rest in between some of the tougher songs with the higher notes and the louder screams, which is smart. I'm impressed that he's able to make it through a 3-hour show without really a drop-off in quality. In fact, my buddy that I went to see the show with commented that it seems that Axl steadily got better as the show went on, and I think there's something to that. But if you really dialed in and paid attention to his vocals, you would definitely notice a difference between where he's at now and, of course, where he was at the start of his career. And that's not a revelation. That's not news. That's just how the body works after years and years of singing, especially singing that style of music. It sort of reminds me of Brian Johnson from AC/DC. It's a bit of a decline, but not a sharp or embarrassing decline. He's nowhere near someone like Vince Neil, or I hate to say this one, but David Lee Roth. I think you got to make a lot of excuses for those guys. Axl, not so much. But again, if you're paying attention to his vocals, you'll definitely notice that. Unfortunately, there are moments that he doesn't quite hit those high points. But I think his enthusiasm on stage makes up for it. And again, given how long the show is, given how many great songs are in the set list, I think you ultimately get your money's worth. So, my criticism about his vocals is very minor. It's just pointing out a reality of getting older in combination of having a catalog of songs that include hitting those notes again and again and again. So let me be very clear. I highly recommend seeing Guns N' Roses. I think they are one of the absolute top, best performing rock and roll shows you can see today. I do not take for granted that this lineup is going to hold together from here on out. And you also can't take for granted that Axl's voice is going to even hold at this level for decades to come. It's impossible to tell how long he has before it ultimately becomes an unavoidable problem. So again, if you have an opportunity to see them, I would really recommend it, because I think they're great. And even more than the performances, the number of incredible songs they have is just unbelievable. Honestly, seeing them do Night Train, Rocket Queen, and Paradise City, right there, that's worth the price of admission alone. That's what's so great about it. They did just a massive lineup of great songs and big hits and crowd pleasers, and people were engaged the whole way through. And even if they do a song that you're not big on, well, if you hear one you're not big on, go take your bathroom break then, because the song after it is going to be one you love. So again, if you like classic rock, I highly, highly, highly recommend Guns N' Roses if they come to your town. Again, because they're performing at a very high level right now, and there's no guarantee that they'll keep performing at this level for years and decades to come. So check them out. And then check out my social media links. Subscribe to us on this YouTube channel and check us out on Facebook and Twitter. And if you are a fan of classic rock, I host a podcast about classic rock, so I think you should check that one out as well. I'm sure you'll find something there that would strike your interest. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this video. See GNR if you can, and keep rocking.